On this Sabbath, or Saturday as also called, I want to talk about the following. In this world, you are conditioned to think that when an individual leaves something or someone, that there must be something wrong with the individual or the thing that they've left. And due to the black and white thinking of worldly people tend to fall for this explanation. So what happens when there's a job, if someone leaves the job, also we think, oh, maybe there's something wrong with the job, or maybe that individual has his reasons being that the individual didn't want to put up with something. We mystify those that leave. Those that left. That's a better way to say it. We mystify those that left. Now I'm here to demystify the leavers for you. Just because someone leaves something or someone does not automatically mean that there's something wrong with the one or the thing that was left behind. What if someone leaves something because they're the ones that are bad? They're the ones that don't add up. And they just don't want to face themselves, so they prefer to be around those that either can't see their inconsistencies or were not able to challenge them on their inconsistencies. Okay, let me give an example to you. Let's say that you have a couple, husband and wife, the only combination that's promoted and endorsed by the Most High, male and female, and a healthy sexual union that is natural marriage. That's how God intended it to be. It has nothing to do with a piece of paper that you sign at the municipality. It has nothing to do with a wedding. It has to do with your attitude. A man being masculine and a female being feminine, those together, that is what the Most High promotes. So, let's say you have a couple, but one of them is unclean. That means one of them has expectations that don't add up. One of them, let's say, is the man. He wants to be validated all the time. All the time. He must get all the attention, and he must be the center of everything of the woman's life. This is not a healthy way of thinking, absolutely not. So, what happens after a while is that there are fights in the marriage or in the relationship, and then the man ends up cheating. And now the woman is left behind with the children thinking, what did I do wrong? And she made herself crazy thinking there's something wrong with her, and she kept looking for the error inside of her. But here's the thing, there was no error inside of her. That guy just left because he didn't want to face himself. He didn't want any solutions. If he wanted solutions, he would have faced himself. He would have admitted, okay, there's something that I need to work on. And he would have been direct with his wife. Look, there are things I need to work on. I need your help with it. If he would have communicated in a transparent and constructive way, solutions would have come. But he has no intention of doing any of that. He just wants to escape and seek relief. And because if it became clear that this woman he's with will not put up nor get along with his relief seeking, he left her. But if he leaves her, others going to ask, why did you leave her? So now he needs an excuse why he left, especially because there are children involved. So now he either lies on her or he exaggerates one of her issues so that he appears like the victim. And he does this with the victim, that means his wife and children also. So the children ask him, why did dad leave? And the children may think, what did we do wrong? And the wife thinks, what did I do wrong? But someone, an outsider that's clever and sees the situation will say, hold on a minute. There's something wrong with the children. First of all, the children can't help it. The children couldn't even help the fact they were born, that those are their parents. So the children cannot be blamed. If the husband and the wife had issues together, okay, let's look at the situation. Oh, hold on a minute. This guy always wanted to be the center of attention all the time, without contributing much. And the wife was often complaining that he doesn't undertake much. So she was right. Oh, so the guy left because the woman wouldn't put up with his BS. Ah, and now the woman thinks she's wrong. And now she's gaslighted. Now she has developmental issues because she keeps thinking there's something with her that needs to be fixed, while there was nothing wrong with her to begin with. And here's what I want you to be watchful for. If someone leaves you, and there is no proper justification for them leaving you, that means that you've been delivered. They left by their own accord, so if they ever want to come back, they need to explain themselves. And because they're not the type who wants to explain themselves, because what they did can't be explained, they won't come back. They won't. So now they close the door, they shut down the door for themselves, so you don't have to do it, and now they are gone with their danger and with their violence. If you have people around you that don't see the situation what it is, and you think that you did something wrong, they may be used by demons to talk sickness into you, or talk depression or suicidal thoughts into you. For example, if you have a man that leaves his family and he's chasing some hope, and if let's say that you have churchgoers who don't look at the bigger picture, they may tell the wife, well, your husband left you, well, you open your mouth too much, you have a big mouth, this. They will get along with the narrative without examining the narrative, even though the woman was not wrong. And now she is being targeted by evil spirits into depression by people who should keep their mouth shut because they don't look at the bigger picture. That is why it's quite important for you to examine the type of people you are involved with. Let's give another example. Let's say you have a football team. And in that football team, there's this one player that decides to leave. And the team continues. Later, some of the fans of that football club were asking, why did the guy leave? And there was many rumors going around why the guy left. Eventually, it became clear that the guy demanded that others would give him more credit as the number one individual in the team because he made too many goals. And when others realized, come on, we're a team. Yes, you make goals, but we were part of a team. When he didn't want to get along with the team spirit, he realized that he wouldn't get the acknowledgement he craved, so he left. So was there anything wrong with the team? No. There was something wrong with him that he didn't want to see. Now, let's use female examples now. Let's say you have a mother. I mean, she's a woman, she gives birth to children, so she's a mother. And she kicked one of her children out of the house. Now, others may think, well, he must have done something wrong, or she must have done something wrong. Especially if it's a son, they may think, well, maybe he was rude against her, maybe he didn't show any respect. So people are trained to take the side of the parent immediately. Years pass by. The son, let's say the son was kicked out, had his life together. Suddenly, that same mother that kicked him out now calls him as if nothing ever happened, and she wants him to send money because she needs money. But at the same time, she's talking bad about his son behind his back. Now, someone who looks at the situation and examines it will realize, hold on a minute. It has been 2 years that she kicked that guy out. The guy has his life together now. And now that he has his life together, now she wants, now she asks for financial aid, and at the same time she keeps bashing this son of hers. Then someone with a healthy mindset would think, okay, let's examine this woman. Okay, where's her husband? Oh, he's not around. She's divorced. She's with another guy now. Oh, when does this other guy appear? Oh, 3 years ago? Oh, hold on a minute. So it's 3 years ago that she met another guy? And 2 years ago, so a year after she met this new guy, she kicked her son out. And let's look at that new guy. That new guy is an individual who doesn't do anything with his life besides complaining and drinking beer. Or let's look at the son. The son is a young man who's ambitious and wants to make something of his life. And then you see the bigger picture. So the boyfriend of the mother couldn't stand the son because the healthy masculinity of the son reflected on the boyfriend how effective the boyfriend was. And because the boyfriend didn't want to face himself, he kept complaining. And the mother, who doesn't want to face herself either, joined the complaining boyfriend, and the son became the target. And the boyfriend intended to physically assault the son. So she kicked out the son to prevent an escalation. But now, things are going wrong with her and that boyfriend. He does not want to commit. And the fact that he's not operating in his masculine nature is also annoying her. So now she looks up how her son is, and she noticed on social media things going well with her son. So now she expects to be able to benefit from the son's prosperity. While 2 years earlier, she kicked him out of the house, making him homeless without any concern what would happen to him. For some reason, everyone needs to forget about it. So in this case, she kicked her son out because she was bad. Not because there was something wrong with the son. And the son eventually realized, okay, this is not me. The son realized it was a blessing in disguise that he was kicked out because now he was pushed into his destiny. And he wasn't held back anymore by his relatives that stood behind his reprobate mother. So, in the examples I've given, it is obvious that the ones that left, or the ones that did the blocking or unfriending, were the ones in the wrong. But they wanted the target or the victim to think that the victim was the one that's wrong. Okay, let me give another female example. Let's say you have an office, and at the office you have male co-workers, female co-workers, and you have this female co-worker that keeps complaining about the boss. She keeps complaining about the boss all the time. Eventually, some of her female co-workers begin to think, okay, why are you on this job while you keep complaining about the boss all the time? Talk with him, find a solution. Why do you keep complaining? And after a while, she stopped talking to her female co-workers and eventually she left the job. What's going on here? You have an individual who doesn't want to be constructive, who doesn't want to face things. They just want relief and they want others to get along with it. She complained all the time, but if you had something to complain that was legitimate, she didn't want to hear it. So she doesn't want to hear any complaints from anyone, but she wants to do the complaining all the time and she always has a reason to complain. Eventually, people began to ask her, why is it that you always have the right to complain and people are obliged to listen to it endlessly, but when others have a complaint that's also relevant, you don't want to hear it. Soon, she became upset after she was confronted and she left. Should the co-workers go after her, asking her what they did wrong? No, they didn't. They didn't do anything wrong. She was the wrong one. They didn't want to face her wrong to be right. And let me tell you this. There are many people out there that don't want to turn away from their wrong. Let me repeat this onto you. There are many people out there who don't want to turn away from their wrong. They don't want to face their wrong. They don't want to. It's not that they can't, they can, but they don't want to. Because for them to face their wrong, that means that they now need to comply with solutions. And that means giving up stuff. They don't want to do all of that. They just want an easy and cheap escape. But there are no easy, cheap escapes in reality. And that's something they don't want to face. So the only way for them to get the cheap and easy escape is by redirecting the tension or the violence to someone else. They don't want others to do it with them, but they want some excuse to do it to someone else. They are persisting in destruction, but they don't want the consequences of destruction. They don't want others to they don't want others to continue in destruction because that may affect them. But they do continue in destruction and they expect others to find a way to deal with it. So when they continue in destruction and it affects others, they blame the ones that are affected, saying it's their fault they know how to deal with the situation. But when others are destructive and affects them, now they're screaming, shouting, and attacking because they're the victim. You have people like that. They don't want to be right. They don't want to be reformed. They don't want to be healed. They don't even want to be safe. Look at that. They don't even want to be safe. They are creeps. And when you're dealing with a creep, you're dealing with a creep. So stop thinking that just because someone left something or someone that they've made a decision that's in their best interest. And some of you who are listening to this, you had people leaving you just like that. There was no fight, there was no argument, there was no contention, they just left. They ghosted you. And you were thinking, what did I do wrong? It affected you. Now let me tell you, they did not leave you for a better option. That's what they want you to think. They left you for someone who will put up with their inconsistencies. They left you for someone that's not able or not willing to challenge them. That's why they left you. They left you because they want to be relieved all the time. And they saw that sooner or later, you're going to question them. You're going to demand them to comply with justice. And because they didn't have no intention to do that, and they don't want to go through a fight, they just left. And they can't explain to you why they leave, because then they will have to admit that they are wrong. So to avoid them from having to admit they are wrong, and also to avoid a confrontation, they just left. And that shows you that with them, it's all about them. They're not concerned at all how it affected you. Even if, let's say it affects you in a very bad way, and you're now in a hospital, they couldn't care less because they're only focused on them. Look, if I'm at a job and it's a toxic environment, and I may claim to everyone, this is a toxic environment, this needs to stop, and I realize people don't want to take it seriously, and I leave the job, am I going to go back to the job after I resigned to keep convincing people to leave the job? No. Look, if the job is a dangerous place because there are illegal things happening to the employees, then I'll report it to the police. I'll report it and I'll move on. If I was fired from a place, or I left because the place was toxic, I will not continue to go back to the place. Especially if I'm fired. If you're fired and you go into a place, you'll be trespassing according to the laws of vacant courthouses, and you can go to jail. So you don't keep going back to your old workplace, convincing people to join you in leaving. Nobody does that. Who does that? Leaving something and convincing others to leave also. Those that have something to hide. Those that have something to hide will always convince you to leave with them. Now look, if it's false teaching that someone was adhering to, and now they've realized how bad the false teaching is and they're warning others, that's different. Warning others is different from having a campaign to get others along with you. If someone is warning you about something they were involved in, then that's correct. But if they have a campaign to get you in agreement with them, that's a campaign. They mean they have an agenda. So they have something they're hiding, and they're using others as a cover. They want others to align with them so that whatever they are hiding will not be discovered. That is why you must have discernment. When you enter a place, and you notice that someone is being avoided by others, ask yourself why. Don't assume just because someone is being avoided, something's wrong with that individual. It can be there's something wrong with the people over there. That individual that's being avoided sees clearly. And because they can't handle that he or she sees things clearly, they avoid him or her. So stop mystifying the leavers. And don't idolize the stayers also. Look at the context. And I'm telling you plainly, you will have people that will leave you because they are the ones that don't want to move forward. They are the ones that are bad, or they are the ones who don't want to comply with justice. They don't want to comply with safety. They don't want to comply with anything. They just want to leave day in, day out without ever being challenged, no matter how wrong they are and no matter how their issues or their afflictions affect others. They just want to be quote unquote left alone to continue in their field without ever being challenged by anything or anyone. That's why they will leave you. So when they leave you, they're doing you a good service by removing themselves with their danger and with their pollution away from you. So don't let demons fool you into thinking that there's something wrong with you. If you left someone for dumb reasons, repent from it. I'm not saying you should reconcile with another individual, only if the Holy Spirit allows it. But if you were the one that left due to narcissistic reasons, admit it, repent, and move forward in Christ. Comply with justice. When someone leaves you, and it's obvious that they have no reason for doing it, it's obvious that they're making things up to make you look bad. They have something they're hiding, and they're using you as a target to put negative attention on you so that nobody notices them. And all the other people that get along with it, they have something to hide also. Or else they will just look at the situation and judge fairly and think, hold on a minute. Why is this individual who left you being so negative about you all the time? Why is it that they need to put you in a negative category? Or why did this individual leave you and pretend as if you never existed? Because when people leave you and pretend you never existed, that's also a red flag. That there are people that don't want to deal with stuff. So whenever things get tough or they feel uncomfortable, they dump it someone else and they're gone. They are stonewallers and scapegoaters. Look at the bigger picture, believers. Well, that's it for now. Keep agreeing with Christ and be at peace.